Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru, and I'm here to remind you that while the Writers Guild have reached the end of their strike, SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, is still currently on strike, and we, of course, cannot make movies without actors, so we must still support them. So I'm going to include a link to both the Entertainment Fund and to their official website if you want to help them out more directly. And as I usually say in these intros, the corporates, support the unions, and let's get back to this review. Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
I'm Count Jackula.
He is Count Jackula, and today we're going to talk about Rebirth, which is the directorial debut of Laura Moss, and is kind of her take on Frankenstein? Loosely. But what it really reminds me of is a far more grounded and a far more gritty Reanimator. Essentially, this movie is about a nurse and a mortician. The mortician secretly, unbeknownst to everyone, has been working on a way to bring the dead back to life. So this becomes particularly useful when the nurse in this story, her daughter dies suddenly. Like, really suddenly. Like, she went off to work and her daughter just kind of had a cold. And by the time she gets off work, daughter not there anymore.
Yeah, daughter dies of like a sudden embolism.
Yup. Actually, she died of bacterial meningitis, which doesn't really matter for the sake of this vlog, but I do want to be accurate, so there you go. Hooray for post-production corrections. And so it is about the friendship / co-parenting relationship between these two characters as they try to bring this daughter back to life and return her to normal. It's ultimately a character study of these two, the nurse and the mortician, with the nurse being the more warm, motherly one, and the mortician being the more cold, standoffish one.
Yeah, more clinical.
And by the end of it, they have influenced each other in a way to where each of them have an aspect of the other.
Yes.
The warm, motherly nurse starts doing things that are far more cold and calculating by the end of it, and the cold, calculating mortician starts acting a little bit more warm and motherly by the end of it.
Yeah.
Now, they're not complete 180s. It's more like they become more of a whole together, find a balance between the two.
Yeah, it's like, what if Reanimator was all about family?
It's about family and motherhood in particular.
Yes.
Because I don't think it's any... I do think there's a reason why all the characters in this story are women, even the daughter, because this is definitely a story about women.
This is not a men bad feminism movie.
No, well, this movie has nothing to do with men. Have nothing to do with this story.
Exactly.
It's all about motherhood and daughterhood.
Yeah. It's only woman stuff.
Yes. And it's a really, really good movie. A very slow burn movie. That's part of what makes it a character study.
Yeah.
Is that we're watching these characters change and evolve over time, and we're watching them each face a new scientific and moral challenge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the movie can be divided up into these little chapters, and each chapter is a new moral line that they got to decide if they're willing to cross.
Yeah. It didn't have to be a horror movie, but the fact that it is just heightens your awareness of the characters.
It allows the movie to go into the more messed up places that a normal drama would not.
Yeah, I really loved it.
I like this movie a lot.
I really loved it.
It's a very quiet movie in terms of the movies we've been talking about recently. It's not trying to be a bombastic, thrill-seeking movie.
No, it's very much like the kind of movie that you would watch in like the wee hours on cable when all the really like bombastic movies have already played, and you're still up. And you're like, well, what's this one? It's apparently based on Frankenstein.
And it'll be engaging enough to that you'll finish, but it's also quiet enough to where you can wind down and go to bed afterwards.
Yeah.
Even though it might leave you at the end with some questions. Like not like questions as to what happened, but like moral questions.
Philosophical moral questions.
Because this movie is definitely a movie that asks the question of how far is too far to go for your child.
Yes, and the thing that I thought was really amazing about it is even though it asks that question, it doesn't answer it.
No, it leaves it up to the viewer to decide for themselves.
Yeah.
Because the movie does not judge these characters.
No. You would normally, like in Reanimator, there would be a judgment upon a character. Like the minute Herbert West starts going off the fucking chain, I have corrected the mistakes of your God. Look. You know, like when he starts like going over the edge, you're like, all right, calm down, Herbert. But in this one, it's much more, you're just watching them do it. And they're doing it wholeheartedly because it's all very personal to them.
It is a movie that, like, I would bring some tissues. You know, at least for me, it gets pretty emotional by the end of it. Yeah. Given the subject matter, that's kind of a given.
The other thing I liked is that essentially these two become a couple, whether or not that's recognized.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a platonic couple. They're not, like, sleeping together. They're not, like, going on dates.
Yeah.
But they are co-parenting this child.
Yeah.
What I love about it is that at the beginning, one of them's doing it for, like, purely scientific reasons. Though, in the spoiler section, we'll talk about how that's not entirely the truth, but like on the surface, that appears to be the reason she's doing it. Yeah, for scientific reasons.
For science.
And the other one's doing it because this is her daughter. It's out of love and grief. By the end of it, they both have that.
Yeah.
They both are doing it out of love, and they both are doing it for scientific discovery. Like they've rubbed off on each other.
Yeah. You could tell immediately that this is a female writer-director.
Yeah.
Because this is getting at a place where like we dudes are kind of spectators.
Oh, agreed, yeah.
You know, no matter how much we love a child, we didn't go through birthing it. That's not how that works. I'd be very interested to hear trans persons take on this. That'd be very interesting. But anyway, this is about women who can give birth in one way or another.
Okay, so I kind of cut out the explanation for this because I don't think we explained it very well and it got a little convoluted, so I'm going to try to explain it here in much plainer words. Basically, you have the nurse, right, who is the biological mom of the daughter. She is the one who physically gave birth to her, after all. But then you also have the mortician, who is the one who brought her back to life, essentially giving her a second birth, a rebirth, if you will. Hence, the movie's title, Birth, Rebirth. Hopefully that makes more sense, and let's get back to the review.
It's a narrative dialogue very much in the way of like the Brothers Karamazov.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as pedantic. It's not literally just them having a conversation like my dinner with Andre style, but you can tell that there is a narrative conversation happening between these characters at all times.
Oh, yeah. The philosophical questions at the center of this movie are present in the dialogue of these two characters, even when they're not explicitly talking about the morality of the situation.
Right.
So I think we've probably exhausted all we can talk about until the spoilers. So this movie is currently available on various streaming platforms to rent. I highly recommend you do rent it because it is really good. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers. The story eventually leads to a point where the characters no longer can use any of the methods they were using to keep the child alive. Basically, they've been using the placenta from these miscarriages that the mortician has been doing on herself.
Gets herself pregnant and then induces an abortion at a specific fucking point so that she can harvest the placenta.
But eventually her insides get so damaged from doing this over and over again that she can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So at that point, they need to start like seeking out placenta and other methods, eventually leading them to giving someone else a miscarriage so that they could like use the placenta from that, and ultimately leading to, we're just gonna kill someone and take the placenta from the baby after they die. When they reach this point, it's the line that the mortician is not willing to cross.
Yeah, because that's the moment you realize the mortician's never actually murdered anybody.
No, but the other one is at this point.
Yeah, she is.
And up until that point, she had been the ones with the problems with each of the moral lines, even though she wants to keep her daughter alive.
Right, but she's gotten to this point where it's like, it's either this or your daughter dies.
Yep.
And because she's heart and emotion, the answer's clear.
Yes. Now, here's the thing about this movie. We never find out if they ever actually succeed in making the daughter be the daughter again.
Correct. Yep.
The movie ends with them restarting the daughter after the daughter re-dies.
Yeah.
Birth, rebirth. the whole process is about to start over again.
Yeah, because it's really a movie about what would you be willing to do
Yes.
in this situation.
Absolutely.
You know?
And the dark thought when the credits roll is they're going to need another placenta at some point.
Yeah, probably.
You know?
Yeah, but at the same time, they have made progress.
They have.
Like
They've made little scientific discoveries along the way through their first attempt with this daughter.
Yeah.
And also through the pig.
Yeah, because there's also a pig that the woman brought back to life.
Now, the other spoiler in this movie is that it turns out that the mortician isn't just purely doing this for scientific reasons. She's also partially doing it because she watched her mom die.
Yeah.
And her original experiments were on her dead mom's corpse.
Yeah, because she thought that there was something that she could learn from her mother's body that would lead her to figure out how to basically stop death.
Yes. And hopefully make sure no one has to go through what she went through with her mom again.
Yeah.
So there actually is a heart underneath all that cold calculating science.
Yeah.
But it's buried deep.
yeah, but it's buried really deep. And same thing for the other mom, which is even though she's warm and loving and cares for life, there's a deep, dark part of her that is willing to murder.
Well, here's the thing. When you think about it, that cold calculating nature, right? How did she figure out the mortician had her daughter in the first place?
Yeah.
We watch her go through this process of figuring it out and the lengths she was willing to go to figure that out.
Yes.
Which just kind of showed that there's a part of her that was already like that at the beginning. It becomes more balanced out by the end, right?
Yeah. It's so interesting that way. The mortician, who you're pretty sure is probably also autistic.
Yeah, there is this vibe that she is somewhere on the spectrum because there's a lot of taking things literally.
Yeah,
and
she
there's
takes a lot of things literally. There's some stimming that she does.
Yeah.
You know,
like, I don't know if it's ever stated in the movie, but it's definitely implied. The mortician has like a coworker she doesn't like very much. But like, here's the thing, even by the end of the movie, she starts to understand him.
Exactly.
Because there's that moment at the beginning of the movie where she like berates him for choosing to go to something that involved his children as opposed to staying up late and doing the work he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
It was like some sort of emergency.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, she's now become that guy.
By the time that she actually like just slightly, just a little bit, she just opens up to him just a little bit. Finally.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great moment because...
This is a movie that, through death, is finding humanity in everyone.
Yes. Sometimes I really like a really well-written, quiet movie. So I really recommend y'all check it out.
I absolutely do too. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube, where I stream throughout the weeks, starting between the hours of 7 and 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just subscribe to the channel, come to YouTube, you get a notification when I'm on. I'd love to see you. Right now, I'm playing a lot of Baldur's Gate, but I also spend a lot of time talking to people about horror movies and mythical symbolism and things like that. So if you just want to come down and ask my quick opinion on a movie or to explain the symbology of a movie that you saw that you didn't quite understand, I'll be happy to fucking help find the answers with you on stream. How about you, man?
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Mastodon. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you would like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages, and remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. But we will certainly accept more. And if you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag placenta. Use the hashtag placenta, that way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows you watched this video all the way through. And if you can't tell, we were quite tired when we recorded this vlog, so it required a lot more corrections than usual. Thank you for bearing with us. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.